Welcome to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable, a podcast where you can meet the people who steward the programs and services that connect us to our quality of life here in the town of Barnstable. We invite you to join the conversation as we navigate municipal government and our community pathways to help you discover Barnstable. I'm Lynne Poyant, and on this episode of Discover Barnstable, we are joined by the Chief of the Barnstable Fire Department, Chris Beal, and the Owners Project Manager, Steve Rizzo, for their upcoming building project. Welcome, Chris and Steve, and if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to do a little bio for each of you before we get into our conversation. Fire Chief Chris Beal has been Chief of the Department for the Barnstable Fire Department since November 17th, 2022. Chief Beal has more than 23 years of experience in the fire and emergency services field, including the last 14 years as a fire officer. With his desire to constantly train and learn the trade, Chief Beal has earned multiple college degrees from various schools, including the University of Maine, Columbia Southern University, and Anna Maria College. Chief Beal holds a Chief Fire Officer designation from the Massachusetts Fire Service Commission. He is a graduate of the University of Massachusetts Collins School of Management and Department of Field Fire Services Chief Fire Officer Program, and recently received his Chief Fire Officer designation from the Center for Public Safety Excellence. With years of specialized training, Chief Beal has also earned leadership positions within the Barnstable County Technical Rescue Team and FEMA Mass Task Force 1 Urban Search and Rescue Team. During his time on these specialized teams, Chief Beal has been deployed across the United States on several national disaster deployments. Welcome, Chief. And you weren't kidding when you said there was a lot of education in your background. Wow. Steve Rizzo is the president and founder of Synergy Consultants, Inc., and has had a diverse career in facility engineering. He attended Northeastern University College of Engineering, where he received his Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and is now a registered professional engineer as well as an ASHRAE certified commissioning process management professional. Steve has over 30 years of experience with firms including R.G. Vanderwall, J.C. Higgins Company, and Bard, Rao, and Thanis Consulting Engineers, where he was the department head of the building commissioning group for 4 years. Other positions that deepened his expertise were chief facilities engineer for the Faneuil Hall Marketplace, project engineer with Shusanian Engineering Associates, and senior facilities engineer for the Massachusetts General Hospital and Children's Hospitals in Boston, Massachusetts. Steve has utilized his engineering background, technical expertise, and practical scientific application and methodologies to provide engineering project management with excellent results. Steve is a member of the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers and a member of the National Society of Professional Engineers. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning.
We're so glad to have you both here because there's a lot going on for the Barnstable Fire Department and actually also the Barnstable Water Department.
Yes.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background before we talk about where we're going?
Sure. So thank you again for having us on this podcast. It's great. We have been growing leaps and bounds. In the last 20 years, our calls for service have tripled. We were a small, little, sleepy Barnstable village for a long time, and that's no longer the case. We're closing in on about 2,000 calls a year. 20 years ago, we were doing about 800 calls a year.
Oh, wow.
So it's been large growth, and it's been quickly. In the last 10 years, the growth in the industrial park, which is primarily in Barnstable Fire District, there's over 10 apartment buildings now. Pretty soon there'll be over 1,000 apartment units in that area, and that's really driven our growth a lot. In the last 5 to 7 years, we've been growing about 10% in call volume, and we've been able to keep up with that somewhat with staffing. We've been very fortunate to get a lot of staffing grants from the federal government, so we were able to add 5 people in the last 4 years to our staff. We've increased our staffing we have 22 firefighters and officers now. And our call volume has just grown. So we started looking at some things, and we knew, the staffing was a little bit under control, but we knew we were really growing fast. And we started looking at the station that we're in, and it was originally built in 1935. It was a 2-bay garage for the fire department. It was all volunteer back then. And over the years, they've added on to it. And we sit on a parcel of land that's 0.27 acres, and the station takes up 0.25 of it.
Wow.
So we don't have a lot of room to grow. We've maxed out the facility that we're in. We have no more lockers for the members, no more bunk rooms for them to sleep in. We're completely maxed out. So we started looking at this. And in September of 2023, the Prudential Committee voted to create a building needs committee. Steve was a member of that committee, and it took us about all of 2 meetings, I think it was, that we decided that we have to change this from a building committee to from a needs committee to a building committee. So about a year ago, we created the Barnstable Fire Department building committee, and we started down this road, and we started looking at ways to, what our options were to grow. So we looked at rebuilding the station, which we, as you said, is, we're maxed out. It's 10,000
Right.
square feet, and we can't do that. We looked at a couple other options, and we came up with what we think is a very good option for us, which is the plan right now is to demolish the water department buildings on Finney's Lane, relocate them, build a new station for us, and then relocate the water department to another facility that's suitable for them.
Very good. Yeah, and you talk about the size of the building and 2 bays and everything else, but one of the things that's come in is the size of the equipment.
Yes.
Has dramatically grown over. You just look at it for personal vehicles, how things have grown, but the equipment is no longer what it was in 1935.
No.
It definitely doesn't fit.
No, and that's an interesting point. Our new ladder truck, it's new. It's 3 years old now. We got with a grant from FEMA. But we had to special order and customize the truck to actually fit our station. It couldn't be over, the bay that it sits in is only 45 feet long, so it couldn't be more than 43 feet long.
Oh, wow.
We had to spent about $75,000 to $100,000 in engineering and parts to get it to sit low in the station so it actually fit in. So the customization of those trucks, it cost money.
Right.
We couldn't buy a stock truck. We couldn't buy a, off-the-shelf truck per se, just because it wouldn't fit in the station. So we were really and that's the way we are with a lot of our vehicles. So, a new station will afford us a little bit of savings when it comes to purchasing vehicles and such stuff like that. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that, we want a bigger station, but we want to be able to, fit it with the right vehicles.
Well,
as
you should describe where you store some of the stuff that doesn't fit.
We were able to get a bay from the county, up at the county farm. We have a bay up there that we put an engine in when it's warm because the building's not heated, so it has to come down to the station. We've got 3 boats. They're all outside. We have a high water vehicle that's outside. We have a brand new pickup truck that we have no place to put inside. That's been outside for 2 years. So we're really kind of up against it with space, and we rotate vehicles the best we can, but it just comes down to, we need more space.
Yeah, and with busy Barnstable Harbor, there's definitely the need for boats because there's always something going on in that area. So let's talk about your plans for building.
Mm-hmm.
And will you be maintaining ownership of the current facility?
We'll be in that facility until the new one is completed, and then we'll move out of that. And there's still some discussion on what we're going to do with that building. One of the ideas is to move the water department to that property. Right. We're still trying to kind of figure out what the best course of action for the district is for that piece of property.
Because
So
it's prime location right on Main Street.
It is, but part of the problem is what do we do to renovate that building? It's not ADA compliant, so then there needs to be some extensive work to do to put in an elevator to make it ADA compliant for a public structure. It doesn't have to be as a fire department, but it does for other functions and uses.
Okay.
Yeah, so it does have its challenges, and it's old. It's the main part of the building is 90 years old this year, and they've added on, and we've the largest remodel they did was in '99, and I spoke with the administration, the members who were administration back then, and they had no thought that we would be building apartment buildings in an industrial complex,
Right.
and that's really what's driven a lot of this. So, but the need is there, so the housing is needed, so. They built it and it's full, so we have to now respond to it.
So you mentioned the size of the lot in Barnstable on Main Street. What is the size of the lot for West?
We're going to it's a little under 3 acres that we're going to develop. We have to be careful because number one well for the water department is there, so we have to stay far enough away from the well and protect it as we're in construction and after we're done. So there's lots of engineering systems that we're putting into the details that protect that watershed. And so we're in the far corner where the water department is now, and we're holding ourselves into that corner.
Okay. And how many square feet are you looking at right now, or where are you at in the design?
Just under 30,000 square feet, so 3 times the size we have now. But there's a method to our madness. The idea is that this station is going to last us 50 to 75 years. We don't want to have to come back and ask the voters for more money for an addition or to do this or do that. We want to do it once. You know, the cost of building is just going up daily.
Right.
So we can do it once, do it right, and then hopefully down the road, it's just going to be maintenance to the building. And you know, we've built it, we've designed it so that it could fit 10 on a shift. Currently, we're 6 during the day, 5 at night for our shift strength. So we have plenty of room to grow for that. That's pretty much the idea that plan is, you know, the size-wise. It's, you know, some people have claimed we may have overbuilt it, but we're looking to the future. We've talked to a lot of fire departments on Cape Cod who've built stations in the last 8 to 10 years, and they all said they wish they had more space. The day they moved in, it was too small.
Too small, yeah.
So
we went and toured 8 different stations and talked to the chiefs and the firefighters, and they all had various lessons that we've learned.
Yeah.
And we've taken advantage of that.
That's great. So what percentage design are you at? Are you at 100% already?
we just hit 60% construction documents on Friday. So
wow.
we're getting there.
You're getting
we're
there.
hopefully by April we'll have 100%.
And we're in the process now of selecting our construction manager.
Okay.
We hope to present to the Prudential Committee tomorrow our selection for their approval.
And Steve, can you speak to your role as Owners Project Manager?
I'm sort of an independent voice. The intent of the state law, it's Chapter 149A that we're using, is to provide just someone who is a registered professional who has enough experience to in similar projects, just to provide an independent voice between the owner who has certain needs and wants and the budget. And my primary role is to keep track of that budget and make sure that we don't overspend. And also to question ideas. You know, if there's somebody who wants something like that's gold plated, it's my job to say, no, you can't have that. And to bring that sort of fiscal responsibility to it.
Great. So you're at 60%, hoping to be at 100% in April.
By April.
And you're going to have to go out for an RFP for someone to actually build it?
No, that's what we're doing now.
Okay.
The Chapter 149A allows us to hire a professional construction company early.
Oh, nice.
And they will help us with constructability issues, design issues, and they'll bring in experts who will look at it from a construction point of view and say, well, if you use this alternative instead of that alternative, maybe we can save you a little bit of money. They'll look at the long lead items and things like tariffs, costs of steel, and so on, and help protect our project from escalation. It'll help with schedule issues. We can do it a little quicker if we do this versus that. You know, they bring a construction expertise to it, and the state has recognized that this is a better delivery system for projects like ours, which are very complex and have a lot of details that need to be put together.
Very complex.
Yes.
So what is the timeline for when you think that the shovel will be in the ground and then when you'll be open?
So we go to our annual district meeting. Our fire district meeting is May 14th, and this will be on one of the warrant articles to approve the money to build the new station. If that's approved, we're looking at probably August, September, shovel in the ground, and they're saying anywhere from 18 to 24 months. A lot of things depending on weather and supply issues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But we're hoping about, spring of 27, it should be open and occupied.
Okay.
Open and occupied, but then we have to test it to make sure that it works. You know, one of the significant issues will be making sure that all of the fire calls go to the correct station, both stations. There's no glitches with it.
Right.
And so we expect a period of maybe a couple of months of testing and checkout before the station actually moves.
Okay.
Of course, he's going to be pulling at my arm, saying, "Come on, I can move now. I can move now."
Right.
But
Yeah, I know that when we built the Hyannis Youth and Community Center, we had an Owners Project Manager, and that was critical in how we moved things forward. So there's a lot riding on your shoulders, a lot of people counting on you to make to get this done. So
No, we're very lucky to have Steve. He's a wealth of knowledge, brings
Yeah.
a lot of expertise to this.
it definitely sounded
Yes.
sounded like that from reading the bio.
Yeah, we wouldn't be where we were today if it wasn't for Steve. So it's to be noted.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're going to the voters in May.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the cost?
The cost. So right now we're projecting about $35 million all in. That's turnkey, furniture, everything moving in, ready to go to work. The only thing we're moving is our apparatus, kitchen table, and files. That's about it.
and the sign.
And the sign out front.
Okay.
Right. So we moved
The sign was very important.
Yes, it is. You know, it's something that brings people together, and because you always have wonderful little messages about what's going on in the village, people look forward to seeing that. So that's great. So 35 million. That's
It's a big nut.
is a big nut.
And 10 years ago, it would have been about 19 million. The costs have just skyrocketed.
yeah. And unfortunately, it looks like they may continue to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, the longer we wait, the more it's going to cost. It's not going to get cheaper, and we don't want to compromise the size because, again, we want to make it so we can grow into this station and have it for a long time to come and not have to, other than regular maintenance, go back and put additions on and add things. So
We estimate that the annual escalation is about $1.5 million to $2 million a year every single year we wait.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So it's fairly important to do it now.
Yes.
But we definitely needed to wait until we had the push from our call volume going up. And now we're staffing. We probably could put more people on. I just have no place to put them.
right.
We could definitely
Or
defend that.
Or lockers
Or
to.
lockers to put the gear in and, bunk rooms to have them sleep in. We're just
Yeah.
There's also issues like the turnout gear is in the apparatus bay because there's no other place to put it. So in that location, they're subject to whatever diesel exhaust that comes out of the engines, even though you have a good ventilation system.
Right.
You can't prevent contamination onto the turnout gear. And so there's a lot of new techniques and OSHA regulations and FPA regulations that we have to comply with the new station that keeps the gear room clean, as opposed to where the gear is washed, which has to be under negative pressure now. It didn't have to be that way before. So there's all kinds of things that we have to put into the new station, which are part of the cost that protect the firefighters.
And that's so important given that there's so many different contaminants and other things that put the firefighters at risk. So, and those are things that I don't think that the general public think about when they're thinking about what needs to get
That's right.
yeah, I mean,
put into
when
a
we go
building.
to a fire, that's one thing, but having things in your station that could, cause harm to our members, that's another thing that we have
Yeah.
to, it's something we can handle and we should be handling.
Yeah.
So that's pretty upfront with us is what we wanted.
And when you think about the size of it, because none of that equipment is small, the coats, the masks, the helmets, everything is there. It's large in size, so it's not like something that you can roll up in a ball and put in a corner. It needs its space.
Yep.
Oh, well, thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Is there anything else that you would like our audience to know?
We've done quite a bit of outreach in the last year, well over almost 24 sessions, and we're going to be doing a lot more. We'll be having some open houses in April, have some meetings at the station. The Barnstable Village Association has been great. They've been hosting a bunch of our events. St. Mary's Church has helped us out with a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff on our website, and we try to put everything out on social media. We're trying to be upfront and honest with everything, and it's like Steve said, it's a big amount of money for this, but we feel as a department this is where we need to do this now. We can't wait.
Well, we're really glad that you came in to talk about it, and I hope that you'll come back as things progress.
Absolutely.
To give us more information about where you're headed.
One more thing you should be aware of is that the district is going to have a warrant night to explain all of the various warrants to the public before the annual meeting. We don't have a specific date yet, but if you could keep your eye out for that.
It'll be about 2 weeks before the meeting.
Okay.
Right.
And that's wonderful. That way, people can have their questions answered in advance.
Yeah, it's something we haven't done in probably 20 years. We used to do, it was a warrant, they call it a warrant night. They go through the whole warrant and people can ask questions. It's not, there's no voting that night. It's just all information sharing. And so we'll be doing that 2 weeks prior to the meeting on the 14th, roughly.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Well, before we let you go, we do have a bonus question to ask you.
Uh-oh.
It should be relatively easy. We'll start with the chief. What is your favorite place in the town of Barnstable? I know it's tough.
If I say it, everyone will want to go there.
Oh.
The sandbar out on Sandy Neck, out at the tip of Sandy Neck. You can only get there by vote.
You're not the first person to say that. Sandy Neck usually rates very high
it's
up.
It's a very special place. The whole all of Sandy Neck. We hike it. My wife and I and our dogs and kids and boating and clamming and fishing. That's where we like to go. That's where we spend our off time.
Wonderful. And Steve?
For me, it's walking on Millway Beach.
Oh, there you go.
We walk all the way around. We watch the whale watch go out. We walk down towards the other end and.
Some amazing sunsets in that area, because I know that if I drive to Millway Beach at around sunset, you can't find a parking space. You can't find, but it's a beautiful area.
It is.
So we want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending time with us and listening to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable. We hope that you found a new understanding of how your municipal government works for you and our community. Be sure to drop us a line at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us and let us know what you'd like to learn next. Until next time, go Discover Barnstable.